Chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life.
The president imposing a 10% tariff on nearly all imports. Roughly 60 countries, including some of America's closest trading partners, will face even higher tariffs. A 34% tariff on all imports from China, a 25% tariff on products from South Korea, and a 20% tariff on goods from the European Union.
You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half.
Some of the costs expected to be absorbed by the buyer, meaning prices on clothing, cars, produce, and pharmaceuticals, among other things, are expected to go up.
So I'm going to bring in senior business correspondent Christine Romans now to break down what all this means for American consumers.
Yeah, this is exactly what the president has been promising, an aggressive stance against countries he feels are ripping off the United States. You're talking about a 10% baseline tariff on all imports crossing U.S. borders, crossing ports coming into the United States. That's the baseline. That would start April 5th at 12:01 a.m. And then on top of that, higher tariffs for about 60 countries that he calls the worst offenders. That would bring a tariff rate to 49% to Cambodia, 46% Vietnam. You can see it on your screen there. 20% for the European Union and 10% that baseline tariff for the UK. The president calling these kind reciprocal tariffs because he says that he's just going to charge half of whatever their tariffs and non-tariff barriers are to the U.S. to try to send this message. He says that the United States has been ripped off. He's also declaring a state of emergency here, a national emergency, and saying that he wants to reindustrialize the United States after decades of bad trade deals that have hollowed out, he says, the American factory sector. One senior White House official telling reporters this afternoon, this is not a negotiation. For all those people who are saying, is this just the president negotiating with other countries? This senior official saying it's not a negotiation, it's a national emergency. This will be money coming into American coffers.
All right, the president must sign an executive order. We assume it's the one covering everything we've talked about here. But let me ask you about these other countries now. Is the U.S. now bracing and expecting retaliation on this trade war? Some
of these countries, like Canada, have promised retaliation. We haven't really heard from Mexico. The EU has promised very specific retaliation. And some of that you can tie it right back to Republican districts, right, where some of these senators will really feel the producers in their states will feel, think bourbon, think pork, think soybeans, think a lot of these things that American farmers really rely on and manufacturers, also motorcycles, blue jeans, lots of different things. Those retaliations are expected to start in the middle of the month. That's what trade wars are, right? Someone puts on a tariff, someone fires back, and then all of a sudden prices are rising for everyone across the supply chain.
Yeah, Christine, these things are easy to get into. Talking about trade wars, they are difficult to get out of.
They really are. And, when we had tariffs on the first Trump administration, it was a low inflation environment, and they were targeted tariffs. There were about a dozen categories. This is widespread across the board, big percentages. It will be disruptive to the global trading system. And in a matter of days, you will have Customs and Border Protection. These customs agents and customs officials will have to start taking in this extra revenue. There are companies who have ordered goods that are on a container in the ocean right now. It will cost more next week when it lands. That can be very disruptive to business. So we'll see how it plays out.
We saw that long list, I believe 6 pages the president held up of what these reciprocal tariffs will look like.
All right, first and foremost, I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. I'm the brother YASHARAHLA, back with another quick lesson, Lord willing, is edifying. And King Trump, a.k.a. Emperor Nero, in the reincarnation, just as the apostle said, he's the right man for the job. All right, he's doing everything right to bring about this global economic collapse so that ultimately the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip implant, the prophecy of Revelation 13, 16 through 18, so that could come to pass. He's making way for the mark of the beast to be implemented, for the global economies to be digitalized, so that the central banks, which are the Edomites, according to the Bible, they're the elite of Edom, the ones that rule this world, the so-called white men. Are we talking about the Rothschild families and the different banking families? Ultimately, they're going to bring about the central bank digital currencies globally, right? So that they can ultimately make mandatory the chip. And that's what this is really all about. It's not the proud sentiment is that Esau, the so-called white man, talking about Trump specifically, but he's like the head of the Edomites in America. They have a pride where he's saying, well, yeah, this is going to strengthen America's economy. These tariffs, this trade war is going to make America great again. It's going to bring jobs back, etc. It's not going to do any of that. All right. That's all a goddamn lie. Ultimately, this is going to bring about World War III because this is creating more enemies for America. All right. Powerful enemies such as China, even having America's own allies such as Australia, to come up against America, to basically make them an enemy. You see, and as well as what? Most importantly, the European Unions, which is the beast, NATO and the EU. So this is all going according to the plans of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It's beautiful to see it, man. We know that we at the end, and we know that World War III, which is going to be a thermonuclear war to destroy Babylon the Great America, is at hand. It's on its way, man. It's going to be the end of the so-called white man's world, his fucking evil, wicked reign on this planet Earth, or his oppression. Economic war or tariff trade war is a form of oppression. And guess what? I don't want to spoil it, but the Spirit got on me this morning to do a little research on tariffs in ancient Rome. And basically, this is how ancient Rome fell. This place is going out similarly to how the pagan ancient Roman Empire, should I say, fell. All right, so I want to get into it, but I got a few points I want to make before I read. It's like a quick piece of an article. But yeah, nothing is going to bring this place back, man. America has an incurable bruise. The scriptures say she cannot be healed. And mainly what that's talking about is the weak economy that America was built upon, this debt-based, usury/interest-based economy. And that was all done deliberately by the central banks, man. These evil scumbags, these Amalekites, specifically. They're Edomites, but they're of the seed line, or the tribe, should I say, of Amalek. All right, and what they did was they plunged all the world, all nations of the world into 300, I think it's either 305 trillion, trillion, or 350 trillion. I looked it up before I brought it out in the lesson in the past, but they plunged all nations into debt through their central banking system. All right, which again is a usury-based interest. That's what usury is, interest-based economy. You know, loaning money to the different nations with interest on it and putting them in debt. That's how they control the world, man. And see, America itself is in $260 trillion of actual debt. That's Ibatyat in the Hebrew, thick clay. Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, mentions it, man, how this place, or this man, Esau, is talking about the American Edomites specifically. He have laden himself with thick clay. So these are the most proudest people here in America, man. There's no other Edomites in the world that's prouder than the so-called American. All right? But this is the end of America. This is the end of this empire, the end of this chapter, the end of Babylon the Great, according exactly to how the scriptures prophesied it, man. So, yeah, man, I found out that basically the tariffs in ancient Rome, I'm going to get the information in a second, but that's what basically led to, it was a major contributing factor to how Rome's economy failed and how the military was weakened, which we know that's basically what made Rome strong, was their military. They were that iron that the book of Daniel prophesied about. And they ruled, what they say, with a great iron fist, which means what? They basically had stronger military than the rest of the nations of the known world at the time. Well, really the whole world, yeah. Right? And also they ruled by something called tributaries. That was another way how they gained strength and economic growth, was by putting other nations in tribute, which was basically taxing them. All right, but the tariff, see, a tariff is a specific type of tax on imported and exported goods. I'm going to get it in a second. Just a quick, brief explanation and how it affects economies, right? But that's what led to the pagan Roman Empire falling. That's what was going on in the empire right before it fell. All right, so let's see what else I had here. Yeah, well, pretty much right. You know, these people, they think that America is different than all these other ancient kingdoms. They're following in the footsteps of ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah, ancient Rome, ancient Greece. And they see that all these empires fell. You know, you got the history of them, the historians, they go into it. They bring things out, how the minds of the people was. And it's exactly the same. You people are exactly the same as every other empire that failed in the past, except this is the most proud time ever. Babylon the Great. You had many great kingdoms, but this is the greatest, proudest kingdom that ever reigned on the planet Earth, and that's why this is going to be judged. This place is going to be judged by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. See, the Lord built this place up to get him a name, just like he did Exodus 9 and 16. Just like he did with ancient Egypt. He built them up, established them, had them put the children of Israel, his holy people, in captivity just to free them and destroy them. So his name, Yahweh, and his son's name, Yahushua, this time, could be exalted. All right, so it could be known in the planet Earth, and it's going to be known in the kingdom of heaven. That's why I said he's going to give us a new name. It's not talking about a brand new name that we don't know. You fucking bozos at the IUIC. It's not talking about that. It's talking about renewing his name in the earth, getting his name reputation back in the earth. Because the name Yahweh and Yahushua doesn't seem to ring bells in this planet, even though they created this planet, even though they're in control of all things, man. So you people have ultimately become proud beyond repair, so to speak. Meaning the Lord just got to destroy you. All right, the Lord got to bring about a great global destruction, which is going to be World War III, thermonuclear war, to end all of this shit, so you people would know who Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is, even though we're telling you. It begins with the prophets. All right, the prophets are telling you who the Lord is. Jeremiah 28 and 8. The prophets are telling you how this thing is going to go down, how America is about to be destroyed. You people still don't want to hear, man. So, really, our job is basically almost done. We almost out of here, man. By prophesying this word, letting you know the evil succumb, the famine, pestilence, war. All right? And you people don't take heed. Well, now the Lord just got to work, man. All right, so let me get this scripture before I start reading up on this. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It says, the thing that have been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. It says, history merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. So you people think this is some new, amazing, great thing that can't be destroyed, especially Trump. That's how he believes. That's how he thinks. Make America great again. America is past its prime, bro. This place was great at one time for a short period, and it's done. You're not going to get to relive your glory days, man. It's through. It's all according to the will of the Lord and the timeline of prophecies, man. This place was not meant to be forever. This is a captivity for the Israelites, a punishment for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and then a place to be judged. And this is going to be that forbidden land. Once America is destroyed by missiles, it's never going to be inhabited or built up again. It's going to be the biggest desert on the planet Earth. All right, while we have our glorious kingdom back in Jerusalem, back in Israel, should I say, well, the promised land was bigger than just Israel, Jerusalem, but that's like the headquarters, right? But we'll have our glorious kingdom through Yahushua, really his kingdom. Let me say it correctly, Salakia. Yahushua will have his glorious kingdom on the planet Earth with the children of Israel being joint heirs to it. While America's going to be sitting, there's going to be all type of snakes and scorpions and desert creatures dwelling over here. No man is ever going to be here no more. You hear that? All type of ravenous birds. All right? You're never going to make this place great again. So history is merely repeating itself. This is the NLT. History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. So let me get into this. These two articles. One I have it was titled "What Ancient Rome Can Tell Us About the Fate of Trump's Tariffs," and they just put this up today. All right, because yeah, that's a big thing in the news. 10% on over 60 countries. This guy's going crazy. He's losing his fucking mind. And anybody that thinks that he's doing this and this is going to strengthen America's economy, you a fucking idiot. All right, you don't know how economy works, and you don't know nothing about history. It says tariffs are back in the headlines this week with United States President Donald Trump introducing sweeping new tariffs of at least 10% on a vast range of goods imported to the U.S. For some countries and goods, the tariffs will be much higher. Analysts have expressed shock and worry, warning the move could lead to inflation and possibly even recession for the U.S. So it's going to backfire. It's not going to strengthen America's economy. It's not going to make this place great again. It's going to bring about economic hardship. All right, they said for the average household, I think $128. Average American household is going to lose $128 through the inflation and the rising of prices, which is basically, well, inflation is, that's not what inflation is, but that's an effect of inflation. This person that wrote the article says, as someone who spent years researching the economy of ancient Rome, it all feels a shade familiar. In fact, tariffs were also used in ancient Rome, and for some of the reasons that governments claim to be using them today. It says, unfortunately for the Romans, however, these tariffs often led to higher prices, black markets, and other economic problems. Yeah, that's pretty much it on this one. But he's going into a philosopher by the name of Plinley. And I guess he wrote a lot about the different tariffs and how the Roman economy was doing back then, the type of things they were importing. They was living a very luxurious, delicate lifestyle, a delicious lifestyle, just like these fucking Americans today, which is mainly what? An import country. America doesn't really export too much. They mostly import. All right, so these taxes, these tariffs, they're going to mainly affect the people. And what is that going to lead to? I think, is it in this article? It's probably the next one. Yeah, it's in the next one. Check this out, man. And this is from LinkedIn. It says, history speaks, the Roman Empire's collapse. Tariffs and excessive trade restrictions contributed to the decline of the Roman Empire. As the empire expanded, it relied heavily on trade for food, raw materials, and luxury goods to sustain its sprawling territories. However, rising tariffs and taxes on imports disrupted the flow of goods. See, so what is that going to lead to? Shortages, right? Famine. And then when things are, you have a thing called supply and demand. Once you already have a shortage on things and the economy is getting inflated, well, it's going to be even more expensive for those few little things that is in that's in demand, that has a low supply. This place, yo, man, it's about to get real bad out here, man. Think about the Weimar Republic, man. What was going on back then in that history? So that's why the apostles always say, in order to understand the mystery, you got to understand the history. You got to see that history merely repeats itself. And if you follow in the ways of an ancient kingdom that did the same things, it's going to result in the same ending. All right, America is not exceptional. This is not a great, bulletproof kingdom, so to speak. Foolproof kingdom. Nah, man, this is the worst fucking place ever. And the Lord is going to bring terror upon America and in this society. He's going to bring plagues upon this place, man. Famine and ultimately thermonuclear destruction. World War III, it says economic strain on citizens. High import duties made essential goods like grain and textiles more expensive for ordinary Romans. This led to unrest as people struggled to afford necessities. See? A man shall go up against his neighbor with the sword for the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's going to lead to social or civil war, man. When there's too many people, again, the high demand for something and not enough supply, people's going to fight over that little bit of supply. Only the richest of people are going to be able to afford these things. And guess what the poor people are going to do? They're going to try to steal it from the rich people. They're going to try to kill these rich people to get it. It's basic survival 101, if you will. And that's why in the law, our law, the laws of Yahweh Shemashah, the Holy Bible, we have laws to protect poor people, man, so they can still eat. You leave 10% of your crops. You don't glean all your crops 100%. You leave a percentage of it for the poor. All right. Otherwise, what? The poor man, it tells you that in Proverbs. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Here it goes. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 30. It says, men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. So it's a thing where if a man can't eat, what the hell is he supposed to do? All right, that's what they're getting ready to do. They're getting ready to starve you people out, man. Create all type of chaos and social unrest in America, man. Make it a dog-eat-dog society, which it already is. But you're going to see the true colors of this place, man, which is the vibration behind it, how it was established, man. Through rape, rob, and murder. All right, they stole the land from the tribe of Gad and Reuben, man. It's the land of North America. Look what they did to Central and South America, the other rest of the 10 tribes, or the 9, should I say, the Northern Kingdom. They pillaged all of their natural resources. These countries down there, people are poor, man. The Israelites are the poor of the earth that the scriptures speak about. We know the Lord is with the poor. All right, now we shouldn't be going out there and, stealing from people and stuff like that. Of course, that's a sin. That's breaking the law. But what I'm saying is that when a man has no other resort, no other options, and he does that, well, the scripture even just said, men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. So if you're doing it for that purpose, it's not really a bad thing. But if you get caught now, then hey, you got to pay it back, man. But if you don't get caught, it's like basically the Lord was with you because you got to eat, man. So that's what these tariffs and these taxes and this weakening economy, the inflation that's getting ready to hit, and the recession, that's what it's all going to lead to, man. People stealing from each other, people killing each other. Ultimately, people's going to even eat each other. There's going to be cannibalism out here when the shortages get real bad. All right. And ultimately, the government, right, the United States government, they're going to basically take full control through executive orders. They're going to take full control of all resources, man. Food, water, electricity, anything, everything. Anything you could think of, any survival, any resources you need to survive, they're going to take full control over it. All right, when times get really bad. It says stifled trade routes. This is another effect of, this is how the ancient Roman Empire fell. But once again, history is repeating itself. Tariffs discourage merchants from trading with Rome, reducing the availability of foreign goods. So if they have to pay all of this just to import something, they're going to say, well, we'll just fall back on importing. All right, if something is getting too expensive and you can't afford it, you got to cut back on it. Over time, key trade routes became less profitable, weakening economic links that once bolstered the empire. So America is really surviving off of other nations because, again, it's an import country. So how the fuck can you put tariffs to make America's economy strong? That doesn't math. That don't make sense, man. This place is going to be weakened. The economy is about to get weaker. It's about to be in a full-blown recession, which is going to lead to a depression. And they're going to have to bring the CBDCs, the economic, the digital economy, right, to ultimately lead to the Motb. This is a perfect plan. You got to see it, man. You got to see what the fuck is going on here. Local inefficiency. To avoid tariffs, Rome tried to boost domestic production, but the local economy couldn't match the efficiency of their trading partners, right? They try to make something in America. It's going to be hella expensive, first of all. All right, that's why they basically, outsource their production in other countries because it will be cheaper to just make it over there, pay them fucking gooks in the sweat, the fucking children in the sweat factories, and then send it over here. But now that you put the tariffs on it, really, what's the difference, right? But in ancient Rome, they basically wasn't as good as making things, so to speak. So it would be better if another nation made it, gave it over to you. Like India, they would get a lot of spices and different jewels and things like that. So there was no jewels in Rome. It's a fucking bottomless pit. Europe has no natural resources like that. All right, so you get it from other people, but now you want to tax these other people. How the fuck does that make sense? That's the pride of Esau, man. The result, scarcity, inflated prices, and a sluggish economy. And lastly, it says weakened military. With dwindling revenue from trade, Rome couldn't fund its vast military machine effectively, leaving its borders vulnerable to invasion. The Roman experience is a powerful warning. Restricting trade doesn't build strength. It erodes the foundations of an economy. So that's what Trump here is doing, man. He is not making America great again. He is bringing about the agenda of the New World Order. He's bringing about the central banking elites agenda to digitalize global economy through a global economic collapse. All right, to ultimately issue and bring forth and mandate the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip implant to all citizens of the world. That's what's going on here, man. And that's going to lead to World War III. All right, all of that is going to lead to the missiles getting fired off. Because just like Apostle Odatar always says, once they implement this thing, it's not going to be too long before World War III initiates, man, on a nuclear level. But this trade war is a world war. A global trade war is a global world war. But it's going to get nuclear. That's how it usually starts. It starts as an economic war. And then once people's backs is against a wall and nations are suffering because of rising prices or whatever it is, a weakening of the dollar, the lack of resources, the scarcity of goods, they are forced to go to war, man. So this is a perfect storm brewing here, man. You got to see it. They call it the calm before the storm. It's like, okay, everything still seems good. Matter of fact, what is that in the Apocrypha? And these are scriptures I didn't even have on my list. I mean, this one I was thinking about. All right, the one in Proverbs that I read is just a spirit. You know, things come to your mind, which is the Holy Spirit, as you're doing a lesson to edify the elect. Second Ezra 16:21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. This is the calm before the storm. See, things are not that expensive yet. Things have been getting expensive, but it's nothing compared to what it's going to be in the next coming months, weeks and months, and within the next year. Hopefully sooner than later. Hopefully within the next weeks and months. But usually these things would take time to have an effect, you know. So it says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. So now people think everything's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing going on. These tariffs are going to be good. It's going to strengthen America. All right, we need a stronger economy. We need to be the dominant power once again in the earth, which I'm going to get that in Jeremiah, the hammer of the earth. But it says, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. See? So while you people think that everything is in a good case, everything is fine, it's going to get better, Trump is going to make things better. No, evils are growing. All right, famine is getting ready to come. And ultimately the sword, which is war, man. Weaponry is getting ready to be used, man. They got AIs, man. They got robots. You think the so-called white man got the sword in vain? Well, that it tells you that in Romans 13, he beareth not the sword in vain. You think he got all of this and he just not going to use it? You got to be fucking dumb. All right, this man's going to basically use every tool in his box in this next coming world war, man. Just like World War I and World War II, who was dominating? Who was the ones fighting the main part of the war anyway? It was really the so-called white man created all of that. Esau, Edom. So this third world war, this is going to be the end of Esau's world. Second Ezra 6 and 9, man. So yeah, let me see what else I said. I said Jeremiah. There's like two more scriptures. Jeremiah, I believe that should be in 50. Let me just type in the word hammer. Jeremiah 50 and 23, right? How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? So it says Babylon, the mightiest hammer in all the earth. So that's America. All right. When they say when you the hammer, everything else is the nail. All right. And what has America been doing? They have been oppressing the different nations of the world. All right. Through the same way that the Roman Empire did, through tributary. All right. Through taxation. What Trump is doing now with the tariffs. That's him being a hammer. All right. Basically trying to weaken these other economies, have them pay more so that America could be even stronger. It's not going to happen. It says lies broken and shattered. Babylon is desolate among the nations. So America is the one that's going to pay for all of this, man. Not the other nations. Well, yeah, they're going to get hit with missiles. The whole world, the whole planet Earth, so to speak, is going to be in shambles. But America in the end is the one that's going to pay for this, man. That's why when you read Revelation, the 18th chapter, and the vision that John the Apostle had, he said the nations were weeping because basically they're saying, who are we going to sell our merchandise to when America was destroyed? All right, when America was nuked by missiles, when he saw that in a vision, he said the smoke of her burning went up. And the other nations looked afar off and they said they was weeping for her, not because they cared, because they the ones that shot the missiles on her. But they was weeping because they said, oh no, our cash cow, how are we going to make money? All right, so it's America in the end who's going to suffer the most, man, which is going to be complete desolation, complete destruction. You see? It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. Thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught because thou hast striven against the Lord. See, so the Most High is making a trap. See, this dude is making this move. He's thinking he's doing the right move. These American people, they think that America's going in the right direction under Trump, which a lot of them are really not. A lot of people have already awoken to the bullshit. All right, and they see that this man is bought and paid for. A lot of people, but still, you got some people, they still thinking, man, this is great. You know, we'll be fine in a few months. You know, everything will be okay. Elon Musk and Trump, they're gonna fix everything. That's why they firing all these workers, you know, to basically get rid of the corruption. They cleaning it up. They draining the swamp. That's a phrase that they use, right? But no, this is a snare. You being ensnared into your own destruction, Babylon. Esau, Edom. You being found in a trap. You don't even realize it. It's like when these damn devils, they put them bear traps out there in the forest, and you will have a bear walking about and it has no idea that the trap is there, and it steps on it and boom, its foot is clamped. You're here to get judged. You're here to get caught in that snare, that bear trap that the Lord has set for you, which is going to be the missiles. All right, ain't no fucking heathen making it out of America. The salvation is for the elect of the nation of Israel, and that's it. Let me get another one. Wind is kind of picking up. This is Nahum chapter 3 and 19. And this is talking about ancient Assyria, okay, which basically became Babylon, the ancient Babylon. But we equating it spiritually to America, because once again, America has followed in the footsteps of all these ancient kingdoms. So spiritually, America is ancient Nineveh, it's ancient Assyria, it's ancient Babylon, it's ancient Egypt. Revelation 11 and 8, it says, there is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. So you may be in a battle, and you may get a wound, right? Then you got to go to the nurses. You know, they'll patch you up, put them stitches up on you, you know, disinfect it and whatnot, right? Then you will heal up. It may take some time. You'll eventually heal up. But it's saying this bruise that America got, aka Babylon the Great, this is incurable. There's no healing for this. There's no balm you could put on it. Meaning what? There's nothing that anybody can do to fix America. It cannot be repaired. This economy can't be fixed. This economy cannot be strengthened. The very foundation of it is built on corrupt lies, man. It's built upon usury. It's built upon interest. It's a debt-based economy. It was never meant to be successful, all right? It's always like a temporary thing, basically. You see, it's like trying to put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. It was never meant to last, all right? It was only meant to be like a stepping stone to get more control, for the elites to get more control over the planet Earth and its resources and the people. Because ultimately, Proverbs 22 and 7, it tells you that the rich lend to the poor and the borrower is servant to the lender. So they have basically enslaved the whole planet Earth through debt. And that's how they control everything. And they're not going to give up that control. They're going to move forward by bringing about the digital economy, more programmable money to get more control. See, basically, that was like getting their foot in the door. Now they in there. You know, Esau is in this bitch. And he's not going nowhere until he brings about these prophecies, man. He got to bring about the will of the Lord. And then the Lord will dispose of him, man. Okay, shortly after, as he's about to fill his belly. See, right now, he's in his sufficiency. He's in the fullness of his sufficiency. It was as great as it was going to get in, like, I think it was the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken, in America. That was the golden age of America. After that, it just started going downhill. All right, it's never going to go back to that. It's never going to be that again. Just like a woman, she get past her prime. She has a biological clock, a biological expiration date. Well, America has an expiration date, man, and we're drawing very near to it. So thy wound is grievous. It's a very bad wound. It got an infection. They're trying to give it antibiotics. It's not working. They're trying to stimulate the economy. Oh, tariffs, stimulus checks. Oh, this, that, fire these workers. Nothing is going to work. All right. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hands over thee. So once again, the hammer of the earth is cut down, right? It's like a relief. It's like, damn, this evil motherfucker that been oppressing me and making my people poor. Because, yeah, that's what Esau does, man. He steals everybody's resources in the earth. He covers land, take them by violence. All the poor population of the planet Earth is done because of Esau, man. It's because of his agendas and the way he does things, his policies, his economic banking system, if you will. That's really why everybody's suffering, man. All right, along with his evil philosophies, of course, and his wine that they're drunken off of, his ideologies, his democracy, etc. Those things also lead to the people mourning. Proverbs 29:2, ultimately, right? When the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn, because his ways are grievous unto the people. He smote the people, said he smote them with wrath continually. So they're going to clap. People are going to be relieved seeing that America is being destroyed. They're going to say, yes, man, the oppressor, he seized. The golden city seized. That's all in Isaiah, the 14th chapter. It says, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually? See? So the wickedness of Esau Edom is global. All right. He's basically put that hammer down, so to speak, on all the nations of the world. And so now that it's his time to be judged, and basically a school bully, right? And then somebody finally stands up. Everybody feels a sense of satisfaction from it. Feels good. Even when you see a good movie and you see the bad guy get taken down, you feel good, even though it's just a fucking movie. Well, that's what it's relating to, man. It's saying, well, damn, this man has his wickedness have passed continually upon all people. So once it's his turn and the Lord's going to bully his ass, ultimately, Yahawashi coming back with the chariots, all right, so-called UFOs, power, inexplainable, unmeasurable power, right? And the so-called white man won't be able to do nothing about it. Well, the elect is going to get that feeling of satisfaction, man. The elect of the nation of Israel. But all you people in the earth, really, they say even the trees are going to sing. The planet Earth itself is going to rejoice and be happy again. See, this world is covered in cement. The planet Earth literally has a layer of rock covering it, man. It's supposed to be grass and dirt everywhere. But no, the so-called white man, he's a damn devil, man. You see? And that's why the Lord's getting ready to judge his wicked red ass. And we can't wait. So yeah, just look in the news and keep. So yeah, we're gonna keep watching this thing, how this develops, and like the scriptures even say, man, we prophesy through a glass darkly. But then, meaning when it comes to pass, we'll see it face to face. We'll see it clearly. But we have a gist basically through the Holy Spirit, through the prophecies, the visions that the prophets had received. We have a gist of basically what's going on here. So we're not deceived. You can't fool the elect. All right, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. So with that, I'm going to say, call Elohim, like Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Hope and pray you were edified through the Holy Spirit. Shalom.